Hey, welcome back to the show. Did you know that May is National Foster Care Month? And there's a new documentary out that lets us hear directly from the young people impacted by the foster care system. Our friend Angela is here to share what issues stood out most to you and what we can do about them.
Yeah, thanks for having me on about this. You know, the documentary premiered earlier this month, and in it, you hear from 3 different people impacted by the foster care system. Afterwards, I got to host a panel discussion featuring 2 of them, Shirley Mendez and Connor Murphy. I also spoke with Nick Adams, who was a foster care kid himself, and Jess Lewis, who both work for the nonprofit Treehouse and are truly on the front lines of trying to make things better for youth experiencing foster care. There were so many things that we learned from that, but what really surprised me is how much we are not doing right for the most vulnerable around us. The high school graduation rate for kids in Washington continues to climb. We are now at 86%, which is great news. But for kids who are in foster care, the graduation rate is hovering at 50%. What a huge difference. It's expected that a kid experiencing trauma and displacement might have some academic setbacks. But this difference is pretty dramatic, especially considering we do have a system that's supposed to be filling in the gaps. In this clip from the documentary, you get a look at just a few of the barriers that might be behind the low graduation rates.
While I was in foster care, I was moved from shelters that were in Seattle all the way up to Lake City. And no matter where I was still attending my one high school in Federal Way. It was pretty difficult because there wasn't always transportation set up for me. I was busing on public transportation in the morning for 2 hours all the way to school, and then 2 hours back after school. I was never late to school. I rarely ever missed anything.
During my time as an education specialist, I saw firsthand that, when I was working in schools in, South Seattle area, like, Rainier Beach and Aki Karosi, right? Working to get my young people's academic needs met, whether it be through an IEP or a 504, there was a lack of willingness to provide those resources. There was a lack of willingness to provide those accommodations. And I don't think there's any fault of the administration. It's just the lack of resources. It's the lack of ability, the lack of capacity.
What I love about the documentary is that despite the barriers mentioned, you get to meet people who have shown amazing resilience, and that should be applauded. But my hope for future children in foster care is a community that provides better support. Children in foster care have likely had enough challenges to last a lifetime. The least we can do is make schools the safe, welcoming, accessible place that it should be for everyone.
Yes. As I'm watching this, I'm getting the mama bear inside me is like, what? What can we do? What can we do?
There's so many different things. Number one, you can always volunteer. There's so many different volunteer opportunities that are out there. You can have drives, fundraisers, things like that.
Right.
They're always in need of foster families. Even if it's not a permanent thing you do, you can also consider maybe just being an emergency option.
Oh, that's interesting. I had no idea there was an emergency option. What are some of the takeaways that you've gotten from the documentary?
In addition to the education piece, the other one was our LGBTQ kids and the lack of available homes or places that really support them and support how they identify. And you really got a chance to hear from Connor specifically about the pain of that. And so, you're trying to find a safe place and you get somewhere and it's like, you're not okay, you know, and that's tough.
You can watch it all this weekend, right?
That's right. Let me see and make sure I get this right. This is this Saturday, May 28th, right here on King 5 at 7 o'clock. We'll be airing it. We just hope you can tune in and just learn a little bit more. And you can check in for all those volunteer opportunities. There's also ways, I know I'm running out of time, but you can lobby your legislators. If you go to treehouseforkids.org, there are opportunities on the website.
Thank you so much for this.
You are very welcome.
Thank you for sharing.